www.melvetboutigue.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. Shop Melvet Online Women's Boutique.
Let's get back to getting ticks instead of watching flicks. Before we can safely get out there, we need the facts on COVID-19 vaccines. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision for yourself and for your crew.
Into these colleges, and we have to fund our kids in these colleges, and we have to make sure our kids have seats in these colleges.
Now, what about HBCUs? You mentioned
absolutely. You got to fund them all, and you got to make sure they're properly funded. You know, the real reason why I went after Comcast and Charter, it didn't have anything to do with my cable networks. It didn't. What happened was a gentleman wanted to do the Black College Sports Network in partnership with the HBCUs. And Comcast did not accept it. And that would have made a lot of money for these black colleges.
Absolutely.
And it would have educated the Black College Sports Network. This is what he wanted to do. That would have educated a lot of black kids. And when they didn't do that, that's when I came off the bench and said, okay, I'm going to light you up like a Christmas tree. Okay? That was the real reason why I got into it, was when I saw what happened with the Black College Sports Network, which I don't own. I just knew.
Why didn't you buy it?
I just knew. I just knew that these black.
I like that talk.
Right? I knew that these black colleges were going to benefit, and these black kids were going to get the education that they deserved and not have to pay. And that.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food? Like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m.
Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
Oh, we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock
in downtown Atlanta.
For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992
or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com.
For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant,
authentic Caribbean cuisine.
Open up the door, tell them mama hungry.
I'm returning to Clinton Parish, and Tampa's my community. I grew up here, went to school here, and my wife and I make our home here. What makes Tampa special are its people. So when I represent someone injured in my community, it's personal. Call my office and speak to a real lawyer and not some referral service. I will fight the insurance companies to get the settlement that you deserve. At the law office of Clinton Parish, we take the pain out of being heard.
All right, hello, good evening, and welcome to another edition, a live edition, 3 days from the start of the 2022 football season, the ONG Strike Zone. I'm Brian Fulford, Kelvin Rozier, Kofi Hemingway, my brothers from another mother, ready for the season. What's good, Rattlers? How we doing?
We doing good, man.
I'm ready, dog. I'm ready. Let's do it.
We ready. The season is here. is game week. 3 days away from the start of the season. And you know what, guys? This feels like one of those shows very similar to what we had back in April, when there was a change made with the athletic director, and it just like breaking news happened on the show on Wednesday night. And what do you know? We got something to talk about. We got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight, man. We can go all kinds of directions.
Yes, sir.
We can go all kinds of directions. We can talk about, Kofi's got stuff. We can talk about Kelvin, me. Look, it's a great show tonight, man. We want to thank you guys for tuning in and watching us tonight. Tonight's show. Look, I'm just gonna set the table, because the more pomp and circumstance I give it, that just chews up time. So let me get the reminders out of the way. If you're following us, please, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at ONG Strike Zone. We need those followers up on IG and Twitter, man. Y'all got us out there looking like we ain't putting in work. That's all I'm gonna say. There's a lot of people doing less that got more followers than us. I don't understand that. So go ahead and make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ONG Strike Zone. Go download the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. My JBN, my BCSN is where you can find us on the Google Play Store, Apple Store, all those good places. All right. Tonight's show coming up at the bottom of the hour. The confirmation came in earlier this week. Coach Willie Simmons is going to come in. And look, I didn't think we'd have anything to talk about. And then all of a sudden, boom, he drops a bomb, nuclear bomb on a lot of people. Not a surprise to some, but a surprise to many, to say the least, in that he named the starter. He named his QB1, and it's not who we all thought it would be. Jeremy Musa is going to get the start against North Carolina. So we'll obviously we'll get a chance to talk to him about that and hear his first live thoughts and reactions to that news. Also, the athletic director search committee did a great job with interviews the last 2 days. They interviewed 12 candidates over the course of yesterday and today, 7 yesterday, 5 today. I'm telling you, they grinded through these, and we will talk about that, because the list from 12 has been narrowed down to 6. So we'll tell you a little bit about those and some of the names that we do know. Of course, everything is quote unquote unofficial, but it is public. And if you had a chance to watch, you probably had a chance to kind of see some of the faces. And if you know names, you know names. Okay. So none of that is put out there publicly. So everything that we say regarding it is unofficial. But if you know, you know. And then in the second hour, we get a chance to talk to a Rattler, Ken Riley II, who his father, Ken Riley Sr., former player, former athletic director, former coach, former athletic director, a FAMU Hall of Famer, a Pro Football Hall of Famer, and we are praying like heck, because he is right on the doorstep to becoming a Pro Football Hall of Famer, which his bus belongs in Canton, Ohio. So we're going to get a chance to talk to Ken Riley II about that. And we got a lot of breakdown to do on UNC. Wow. So what direction do you want to go first? Kofi, I'll throw it to you first. You seem the most eager. Kofi, which direction do you want to start the show with first? And because I know you looked at the show script. So I'm
we can go whatever direction you want to go, but since you threw it to me, I want to.
Well, see, I throw it to you, and you get the turf monster grabs him right there. So I guess I got to go to you, Kelvin, and say, what do you want to start with?
Well, I know Coach getting ready to come on and talk about his decision in terms of the quarterback, but yeah, that's what everybody's waiting on. So let's go ahead and jump into it from a prognosticator analyst standpoint.
Can you hear me?
Right. We got you. We got you now. So we going with the lead story that dropped this afternoon, Kofi. Jeremy Musa, the transfer from Vanderbilt, who joined the Rattlers late December, early January, is going to be taking over as QB1, taking in the first snap against North Carolina on Saturday. Look, to a man, we all thought it'd be Rashawn McKay. I will say this, my own little 2 cents on this, and I came on board with McKay, but the one thing I'll go back to is the spring game. And some of the things that I saw in the spring game, some of the pre-snap reads and some of the reads by Musa, there seemed to be very little coaching and direction from Coach Simmons. And that was striking to me because I saw him giving instruction to every other quarterback, including McKay. But I saw very little pre-snap directions given to Musa, almost as if Musa felt very comfortable in this offense and the reads. And so that was very encouraging. And it was just one of those things that I told somebody. Matter of fact, I told Keith Hadley, who was standing next to me. I said, just pay attention to that. I don't know if it means anything. I may be looking at nothing, but I just thought that was interesting. So that's my take and why yes, I'm surprised, but I'm not 100% surprised. Your thoughts, Kelvin, Kelvin, go ahead.
So I'm going to put on my analyst hat here. I don't know what to make of it in terms of why Coach, and I guess Coach will give some insight, but it is the season starting. We got Jackson State next week, so I imagine we're going to get the politically correct engagementship answers on this. It might just be simple. It might be, hey, I just got a hunch. But from a prognostication standpoint, typically you don't make changes at quarterback when you have a returning starter unless the starter is injured and or he was dominantly outplayed. So throughout the counts and at the scrimmage, I was at the scrimmage, which the last scrimmage which Rashawn didn't even participate in, and we never got a reason for that. But there was no evidence that he was significantly outplayed. So there could be a lot of different angles as to why this decision is made. It could be just simple as he just want to see Musa in live action, and this game is not as important as next week. It could be Rashawn might be, just want to give him another week to get a little more healthier. It could be that the plan is to play both. I mean, it could be a lot of things. What I would say is this, without having all the inside information. I believe in going with what you know. I know that Rashawn McKay is not going to turn the ball over. I know that he's, no matter how much time he get pressure on him and blitz and everything, I know he's going to get back up and he's not going to lose the game for me. I know he's going to handle that pressure. Musa has not played in like 3 years. So you don't know what the heck you're going to get with him. Now, what he will bring that's different from Rashawn will be the mobile quarterback element. He's a little bit more willing runner. So hopefully that could be a part of the equation too. It gives not only North Carolina, but it gives our SWAC opponent this week something else to consider and look at. So it could be all those things. My concern with this will be Moose hadn't played in 3 years, and is the moment going to be too big? Will he take care of the ball? You got defense and the special teams and skilled people that can keep us in the game for a while and maybe make it competitive. Will he feel comfortable? And can he make the plays that when they are there to be made? We'll find out. I'm kind of excited to look at it, but if purely from a analyst standpoint, if it was me and my quarterback was healthy, I would start off with my returning starter.
Go ahead, Kofi. What's your thought on the move?
I agree totally with Kelvin, but Coach Simmons also has pretty good judgment. I know he pretty much has his own reasoning and strategy behind what he's doing. When you're out there and you're trying to win games, obviously you want to try to put the person out there that you feel is going to give you the best opportunity to win. So being in that environment, being in that mindset, our skill position people are good, and I believe that our defense is elite. What you want is a QB in that position that is going to not lose the game, with wrong decisions and that sort of thing. Because I think we have enough talent on this team to where we can't control the game. And that's regardless of who we play. And, I'm sure Coach Simmons, he's going to be on tonight. So we'll be able to answer this question. But I totally agree with everything Kelvin has said. Obviously, when you're starting the season, you have a QB battle. You ideally would go with the person that has the most experience, somebody that has shown a measure of steadiness, and then somebody that's proven themselves to be a leader, unless something happened to that particular QB that we don't know about yet. So we're going to find out, though. How about that?
It's funny. It's funny hearing nobody's talking about. I think Coach Simmons. We're talking about playing safe, not losing the game. How about having a quarterback that's going to actually go out and win the game? A quarterback that you can find out in the stretch that he's going to go win the game for you by being able to make all of the throws, not just
You
some
gotta
of the
win it. You gotta
safe
win the
throws.
game. You know how you win the game, though, Brian? You win the game in practice. You win the game in scrimmage. Okay. We haven't heard or seen any evidence at this point that that was done significantly. Now you've been going against our defense, which is again we believe is elite. So you got offensive line that has got a lot of new pieces. So you don't know, right? So it's still a little bit of a gamble. You projecting as if there's something that we can say that Musa is going to make these plays and can make these plays. We will see. I hope so.
Yes.
The talent is there, but I mean, like I say, he ain't played in 3 years.
Yeah, I get it. It's all a question mark. Now I've seen a couple people in the comments, a couple of posters on Facebook, and I apologize, I missed the name. Mentioned that Coach Simmons had it indicated or may have said that there might be some injuries or something related to an injury that may be limiting McKay. Now, of course, Coach Simmons had not only his press conference on Monday, but he also did his coaches show Monday night. To which I can't say I caught every minute of it, so I may be missing something. But there are more than a couple of people that are saying that there may be some injury issue, which would go to your theory that one of the reasons may be related to injuries. So, but I also do say this, guys: if you have a situation where you have a 1A and 1B, and you know what you're going to get from McKay, why not start 1B? 1B meaning Jeremy Musa. And let's just see what Musa gives us. Now, that all will go into the strategy of what this game is. And we'll talk about that with Coach, and we'll talk about it later in the show about the strategy of this game. I'm hearing a couple of different theories, which I hadn't thought about, but it makes me scratch my head. And it's like, I can't see us playing the game in that manner, and I'll talk about it a little bit later. But I think this is a game that we've already heard the comments by Coach telling guys that, hey, this is a go get your money game. Not, hey, I know FAMU's getting paid, but he's told his guys, hey, this is the game where you show scouts that, hey, everybody, look, the guys who got drafted in the NFL, what was the film that they went to? Their games versus Power 5 teams. Well, this is a Power 5 team, an ACC team that they've got some 5-star guys on the front line. I just happened to hear Blue talk about that earlier today from Zach from the Blue Bloods talk about that as he was talking with Scotty a little earlier today. They've got another 5-star in the secondary. They've got some good corners. So this is not a chump North Carolina defense. And I know North Carolina's offense lost a lot of production, but the defense seems to be pretty solid, or could be solid. It's a wild card. I've heard another analyst say they want to see what is Carolina going to be. They are a wild card in the ACC. No one really knows what to expect given what they lost. So if coach is telling guys this is a go get your money game, hey, look, Jeremy Moose is going to have a chance to play with guys who are playing at their best. So we look forward to talking to Coach a little bit later up, coming up at the bottom of the hour. Now, one of the things that you're going to see coming across the ticker, and I don't know if producer Mel got this in the ticket. We're going to ask you, and we want you guys to sort of comment on this throughout the course of the show. I'm going to put 3 questions out there for everybody watching the show, and through the course of the show, we want you to tell us what you think. So question number 1 is going to be, and of course, this is the start of the season coming up on Saturday. How many overall wins will FAMU football have this season? So that's question number 1. How many wins? Okay, overall wins do you think FAMU will have? Question number 2, what will our SWAC record be this year? We play 8 regular season games. What is the SWAC record going to be? And question number 3, we want your score predictions for Saturday's game. FAMU, North Carolina, by Massey predictions, they predict North Carolina to beat us by 34 points. I have not seen a spread yet. I don't know what it'll be, but I would imagine it'll be somewhere in the 30s. So you could give us, will FAMU cover 34, 35 points? Well, you tell us the score. So again, tell us the overall wins for FAMU this season, our SWAC record, 8-game schedule, and then our score prediction for FAMU, North Carolina. And Kelvin Kofi will give our thoughts and predictions later in the show. Let's move over to story 1B, the athletic director search by the search committee. Narrowed down from 12 to 6. Okay, so here's what I will do. For those of you who, if you had the chance to watch this in Zoom, and it is public, we are public university, so this played out in Zoom. A couple of interesting things as you watch this, and you guys jump in here with your interesting thoughts about what you saw. Obviously, the candidates, the names are withheld, and they are referred to by candidates. The highest number candidate I saw of the 12 was 38. The lowest was 3. So I don't know if that means there may have been more than 38 candidates that applied for the position, but we know at least 38 candidates applied for the position, if I'm saying that correctly, right? And, so, of course, 7 interviewed yesterday, 5 today. There was a series, I believe, of 13 questions that were asked. And I got to imagine, guys, that the previous meetings were all designed to help shape these questions. So let me ask this. What you saw of I think it was 13, of the 13 questions, do you felt those questions were the type of questions that pulled out every possible thing that you could find out about this potential hire, or do you feel like there was a question that did not get asked in that opening stage?
I wanted to hear more tangible evidence about fundraising, more specifics. I wanted to hear specifics about fundraising. For instance, if you've done fundraising, how much money have you raised? What specifically have you been able to build? What have you established that's still there? From a productivity standpoint, if you're an orange tree, you want to hear that the tree has produced oranges, right? If you're an apple tree, you want to hear that the tree produced apples. So if you're an AD or an aspiring AD, what have you produced on that end? Not just managed, because, really for me, from an APR standpoint, to me, that's not necessarily a difficult thing, since we only had one team that really fell short. Everybody else has literally been on point, except for one team. So you bring in the resources to help that one team, then APR shouldn't even be an issue. You find a way to collaborate and get with the president and find, and fix that. I get that all of the candidates had experience in that area. All of the candidates believe in the academic mission of Florida A&M University. The one thing that I kept hearing from the coaches was, we need resources. We need facilities. We need somebody that's going to come in here and create and find a way to get us resources. Give us resources. You find somebody that can come in and do that, and it's a wrap, right? So for me, there was one candidate that really, a couple of them that stated that they've done or raised millions. That stands out to me. A couple of them have built facilities and seen facilities built, made it come to pass. And this is from athletic programs that literally had nothing. So for me, those are tangible things that I wanted to hear. Those are questions. Now, the questions that they did ask kind of pointed as to how a certain AD got dismissed, or why a certain AD got dismissed. Are you going to be able to work directly with the president, with the board of trustees, with, are you going to be able to work with these people? By the way, are you going to be able to work with these people? Because if you are going to be able to work with these people, this is a question. And let me ask you this. Have you ever, tell us an experience about you actually working with the president, working with the board of trustees, and working with that. Yep. Tell us an experience about that. We want to know straight up. And tell us also what you know about the academic mission of Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University, and how your vision is going to line up with what we have. And by the way, have you worked with the president, the board of trustees, and all of the constituencies and organizations that are in alignment with the vision here at FAMU? Have you been able to do that? And also give us an experience when you did that. Thank you. They asked that question literally about 4 times.
Yep.
So now you see largely how a certain AD got dismissed, and why they're no longer with us on the highest of 7 hills. All right. But let me just say, DHR did a phenomenal job of pulling together a list of candidates that are more than capable of getting the job done at FAMU. So I'm pleased with the list. I was pleased to hear the interviews. I was pleased to hear the passion. I was pleased to hear the thought processes, and even the in-depth questions, because those things are important. And also glimpses of the vision, and that's it, man, as far as that aspect is concerned. But for me, if I'm making a decision, this don't have to be long and drawn out. It's pretty simple and cut and dry to me. So there you have
Kelvin,
it.
Kelvin, I'll give you 3 minutes for your response.
I don't need 3 minutes.
Right.
I don't need 3 minutes. So I didn't, I wasn't able to watch the interviews live, so I've got to go back and look at the Zoom. But I did talk to a lot of people and who did, and I'm familiar with some of the candidates. And I guess thing number one is, I'm not surprised who's made the 6. I figured there would be at least 2 sources that are familiar with FAMU that would be in the on-campus interviews. All right, so that doesn't surprise me. I'm looking for the recommended, since they won't be ranked when they recommend the 3 or 4 to the president. I'm looking at that, who they recommend, frankly, right? I'm gonna say it. I believe it's gonna be them same two candidates gonna be part of that 4. All right. I would like to think that the other 2 candidates would be the most qualified, most experienced, and so forth. Because for me, following uh, uh, what we have right now, from young to interim, experience matters. So I don't want to think that we went through this
Look,
whole process.
come on,
We
man.
went through this whole process just to hire who the hell we wanted to in the first place. If that's the case, then hell,
Look,
hire the people you want to. So I want to see evidence that this process is not rigged.
fair,
And so,
right?
therefore, I won't make any comments about any of them until I see those
Look,
final 4.
I'll be bold.
I told you.
Let me go ahead and say this. Let me say this.
You
okay?
gonna walk? Go ahead. Yes, quickly. Yes,
Look,
go ahead.
There was a candidate that stood out to me. Now, I'm going to say, obviously, I know a lot of the people that applied for the position. At least 3 of them that actually made the final 6. I know them personally. I have personal relationships. And all of them did a phenomenal job of presenting with passion, with clarity, with depth. Marvin Green's presentation literally had me in tears. I was just like, that was the part that I really, really felt, right? Angela Suggs' presentation was absolutely amazing. There is no doubt, that, she knows FAMU. She knows what we need. She knows how she has the relationships to get things done. Okay. Mike Smith obviously has been here. He's done a phenomenal job just holding the ship down, steadying the ship, but he hasn't had the free reins necessarily to do what he needs to do, right? All of that's amazing. However, there was another candidate that to me stood out. He's a lawyer. Okay. So you got to have integrity as a lawyer. That's a big deal. Okay. You got to be able to make arguments. You got to be able to defend. You got to be able to write and speak intelligently about the issues that are facing your department or your potential athletes or the athletes or coaches that are there. This particular candidate also had experience working with and in the NCAA. To me, I was like, man, that's like huge. That is a huge and big deal considering all of the compliance issues that we have seen throughout the years. You got somebody that knows the rules in and out, has relationships with these people, and is a lawyer, so he knows the language of the laws that are presenting a school that has repeatedly fallen short of following the rules. So, and doing what needs to be done. Not to mention, this guy took a program from the ground up. He has experience with 4 of the programs or the athletic programs in the state of Florida: UCF, USF,
yes,
University of Miami, FIU, and FAU. So that's 5. All right. So he had experience.
4 public.
Yeah. 4 public schools in the state university system, and he's aware of the state university system. He's had experience bringing a program with a high-profile program that was on probation back to a legal and level a level field. Okay, so he's got experience doing that, and if you can do that with the University of Miami, you can do that anywhere because Lord knows they have done some illegal stuff. All right, so cleaning that up is a big deal. All right, then he took a program that did not have a stadium, got them a brand new facility, not just facility, but facilities. And to do that, raised millions of dollars and a P3, understanding what that is and how to make that work for your institution is huge. Considering that at the time, nobody cared about that school, and they didn't really have the funds or the fan base to get behind them to do what the University of Florida's would do or the Florida States would do. Creatively found a way to get the job done. It was an 8 or 9 year process, but he got it done, you know, and that's not easy to do. But guess what? Guess what? He did it.
Yeah, he was very good, and I'll put it out there because it's well known, I believe, if you did the research and everything. Craig Angelos,
I have
the former athletic director of FAU for 9 years, from 2003 to 2012.
Let me say this, and I'm gonna leave it there. Okay, I have personal relationships with our FAMU people. I love them all. Okay, I really, really do. And I hope they know that. I mean, I'm practically family. Okay. But if I'm making a business decision for the benefit of the university, I want somebody that's got experience with the NCAA, that's got experience with compliance, crazy good experience with compliance. I got it and got experience in fundraising where there's tangible evidence of raising millions of dollars and creatively finding additional funds for a department. Now, for me, it's cut and dry. It just is.
Let's do this.
It's not personal. I'm just saying it is.
I got you.
It's not difficult. It's pretty easy.
All right, Kofi, let's take a short break. Mel, quick 1 to 2 minute break. Coach Simmons is ready for us, so let's take a break. Come back with the head ball coach, Coach Simmons, on the other side. You're watching the ONG Strike
His name is Craig Angelos, Kenya.
Thank you, Kofi.
I just wanted to say that, Craig.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
The Sweet and Smoky Salmon Rub infuses smoked black pepper with dehydrated maple syrup, pink Himalayan salt, ginger, thyme, mustard, and more to make a sweet, savory rub, perfect for salmon, trout, and other delicate seafood.
Some carriers will give you just one measly entertainment subscription. One is no fun. With Verizon, there's up to 7 entertainment subscriptions with your unlimited plan. That's 7 times the... 7 times the... No. 7 times the... Music, gaming, Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus, and more. That's 7 times the entertainment. Because everyone deserves better. And with plans starting at just $35, better costs less than you think.
For my people that don't get to see me, trying to remind you who you are, just like in Romans 3. See, we about to blow across the world just like the day is breezy. This motivation for the people, and this classic Bible teaching say, make this for my people that don't get to see me, trying to remind you who you are, just like in Romans 3. See, we about to blow across the world just like the day is breezy. This motivation for the people, and this classic Bible teaching. Motivation.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Show. We talk about all...
All right, welcome back to the ONG Strike Zone. Brian Fulford, Kelvin Rozier with his pom-poms, and Kofi Hemingway, and it is none other than the head ball coach. Taking time out of his busy schedule this evening to join us. Coach, how you doing this evening, sir?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Well, we're great, Coach. We're great. You know, I'll be honest. As we try to figure out where we're gonna put a little chat box there, I was worried that I wasn't really gonna know what to come with the opening question. I was gonna ask you, who was going to be starting as the running back, as RB1, and then you decided to break some news and you made it easy for us. So, you made the decision this afternoon, Coach, and to go with Jeremy Musa to start. Why don't you let us in and tell us what went into the decision and maybe what was the decision-making process like for you and the staff?
Obviously, this has been the question on everyone's mind throughout training camp. And as a coaching staff, it's our job to assess everything, to make those decisions and ultimately tough decisions to figure out who will start the game. And so at the quarterback position, we know that it's the one position that typically only one guy can start. And after training camp, the last couple of weeks, Rashawn battled some injuries. And so he wasn't able to get those first team reps as we started to prepare for North Carolina. And so we made a decision to start Jeremy because he's gotten the rhythm and the timing with the receivers throughout the week. Rashawn has slowly started to come back to practice this week, and he'll travel with the team. He'll dress, and I fully expect him to play. And so they'll both play. Jeremy will start the game, but we'll have them on a rotation basis as long as the game is, in reach. And, if something happens one way or another, then we'll assess it from there. But both guys have done extremely well. They both earned the right to lead this football team. And, it's just one of those unfortunate deals where when you got two really, really talented young men, somebody has to take the first snap. And in this case, it just happens to be Jeremy. But I've spoken with them both. They're both in great spirits. They both support one another, and they'll be right there helping each other along the way. So when Jeremy's in, Rashawn will be, his biggest cheerleader. And then on the flip side, when Rashawn is in, Jeremy's going to be his biggest cheerleader. And that's what you want to see from that group. And I'm just happy to have a close-knit group of guys that really love and care about one another.
Would you say this is one of those situations where it's really not about what the other guy didn't do, but maybe what one guy just did really well, or maybe a little bit better than the other guy in this kind of situation where you can only choose one?
No, not necessarily. I don't think one guy was head and shoulders above the other. I think they both performed well. I think they both had great moments during training camp. I think they're both continuing to grow and learn as quarterbacks. Again, as a head coach, as the play caller, you have to make a decision at some point as to who's going to take that first snap. And so, again, had Rashawn not gone down the last couple of practices, he probably would have gotten a nod. He's earned the right. Led us to 9 victories last year. And that's why, again, this isn't hey, Jeremy's a starter, and unless something happens, he's going to play. I'm not sure what North Carolina's situation is. I see they named Drake May as their starter. I don't know if they have a plan to play the other guy or not, but we do have a plan to play Rashawn. He will get in the game early, and they both will play. And we'll continue to assess both guys from there. When we watch the film on Sunday, we'll see how they perform, and that decision may have a huge impact on who starts the following week. But, this week it'll be Jeremy, and we'll see what happens.
Go ahead, Kelvin.
You kind of leading me right to what my question was, Coach. First part of my question is, was relatively speaking, for what you were able to accomplish over these last 4 weeks, do you think your team is where you think they should be or wanted them to be, going into this game? And that's both from execution standpoint. You won't know, of course, to the game day, and health standpoint. And then I want to know, in your psyche and your coach and your staff psyche, how much having that conference game next week impact, or does it have an impact on how you play out this game this week?
Well, to answer the first question, I think physically we're where I like for us to be. I think the guys are moving around well. We're relatively healthy. I don't think we have any guys that are scratched, obviously, that we didn't anticipate being scratched before the game. And so we're going to take 76 guys, and they'll be healthy-bodied and be able to go in and play for us. So physically, I think we're in a good place. It'll be interesting to see how we perform as far as our execution. That's always the thing to assess, whenever you take the field. And can we line up properly? Can we stay on side? Can we get 11 guys on the field on every play? Can we match their tempo? Those are the little things that those first games typically show up. And so we want to make sure that we're not on the negative side of those type of components of the game. And so that's what we've really been focusing on, really make sure that we play clean football. That's what that's what I'm looking forward to see the most. Can we play clean football? Yes, I want to win. Yes, I want to go in and shock the world. But when we walk out of Chapel Hill at about 12:30 on Saturday or Sunday morning rather, I want to look at the film and say we played good football, and then we'll let the outcome be what it is. So, but as far as the next part of it, obviously we'll assess how the game goes as far as our preparation for the following week. The game has a lot of benefits as far as going in and giving it everything you have to go win a game like that. It does wonders for your program if you can pull off a game of that magnitude. But, those saying we don't want to cut our nose despite our faces. And so if for some reason the game gets out of reach one way or another, if we're up big, they're up big. I'm not going to sacrifice losing an Isaiah Land or losing a Xavier Smith just to try to say we fought to the end. We got 76 guys to travel. That means there's 76 guys that can suit up and play. And so we want to make sure we get out of the game healthy because, again, at the end of the day, yes, beating North Carolina would be phenomenal. But if beating North Carolina means that we walk in the Owens Blossom Classic, the walking wounded, I take the latter. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go to the game beat up and busted up going into conference play. So we'll assess that. That's all a part of it. Most teams at our level have to make those tough decisions. And we'll see how the game goes to determine how we continue to operate as far as our substitutions go.
Okay.
Go ahead, Kofi.
Coach. So you made a decision with special teams to bring somebody in that had the ability to take special teams to another level. Can you give us an update on how that's going or what differences you've seen with our special teams in their preparation for the season?
Well, I think Coach Davis has really been a godsend, to this program. I mean, the attention to detail, the tenacity that he brings to special teams is something that I think will really, really benefit this program in a major way. We have tremendous specialists. I think you'd be hard pressed to find a better kicker, punter, return combination in the country at our level with Chris Dool and Jose Romo Martinez and Xavier Smith and Jamari Shareed. And so we feel really, really good about our specialists. We feel like we have the speed, the athleticism to be able to have a dominant special teams unit, to get our hands on some balls when we go out to punts, to run some kickoffs and punts back for touchdowns. All the things that run down on kickoff coverage and give them a long field. So again, at the end of the day, I think we can have a dominant unit, and that's what Coach Davis was excited about when he took the opportunity to come here. And we're looking forward to seeing us put that on the field. But the preparation that we've had over the last 21 practices at this point, 22 practices at this point, has really, really given us the confidence to go into the game feeling like we can have a dominant unit.
Coach.
Hey, Coach, I wanted to make mention of some recent roster additions, just to kind of see if any of those recent roster additions might have an opportunity to play, or what's this the outlook for some guys, such as defensive back Trenton McGee, running back Brian Beck, defensive lineman LaFonso Ruffin, another defensive lineman Anthony Dunn Jr., linebacker Jordan Rico. There's a couple other names here that I could mention, but any chance for those recent additions to find their way? What's sort of the schedule like been for those guys?
Well, the one guy that I think you'll see a lot of, maybe not quite as early, but at some point often this season, is Anthony Dunn. He's a young man that just came to us about a week and a half ago. Transferred to us from Marshall University. My good buddy, Coach Street, who's our previous defensive coordinator, called me once he was dismissed from the team up there for violation of team rules. And when we did our research and looked at it, it wasn't something that we thought should keep him from having an opportunity to go to school and play football. And so he's a Florida kid, again from down in Central Florida. So he, relished the opportunity to come to FAMU. came in right away and made an impact. And it's just one of those deals where I think we may have found a diamond in the rough. He's a 6'4", 250-pound defensive lineman, can really run, can play on the edge, can mix it up inside. And I think he's going to be a special player for us. And so once he continues to learn, the plays, learn what's going on, I think you'll hear a lot from Anthony Dunn this season. And then the other guys, they're all working their way in, got here late. So maybe doesn't have the experience, the knowledge of the schemes that other guys that have been here had, but all show promise. And I think at some point, maybe this season, but definitely down the line, that you'll maybe hear from all those guys.
Appreciate that. Go ahead, Kelvin.
So, Coach, I'm going to ask you to kind of project the lay of the land. I know you've been focusing on your team and your camp thus far, but the SWAC in general and SWAC East specifically has had a lot of influx of talent, right? Just like we have. I saw arriving down in Daytona pick up a couple of late players. Also, and then of course on the west side, you had new coaches along with a lot of infusion of Power 5 talent. What does that mean for the conference and the brand, and the fact that you all we've had a lot of NFL scouts at our practices. Some other programs have. When you see that stature, we got the media rights deals all over the place with several different outlets now. Well, we're going to be on ESPN, HBCU Go, etc. Having that visibility and that branding and that level of talent that you've seen get better over the last 2 or 3 years in the conference.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. One thing's for sure, it's going to be exciting this year in the SWAC. And, you can say everyone is upgraded. Everyone has gotten better. The coaching changes that they've made, again, I think everyone brought guys in who can bring a lot of excitement to their programs, whether they were alum or NFL coaches or guys who just have a familiarity with their institutions. And so, again, I think it's going to be an exciting year. I think every week you got to be ready to play. I don't know if there's a team where you can just roll the ball out and play and think you're going to beat them by 3-4 touchdowns. So again, it's going to make it to where everyone is on their P's and Q's. But that makes for exciting football. I think the venues will be great. I think the atmospheres will be phenomenal this season. The SWAC already leads FCS football in attendance every year. But I think it'll be a wide margin this year. I think the games that people want to see, when Southern comes to Tallahassee or Jackson and Southern and Alcorn and Grambling, and just those traditional rivalries, I think you're going to see some really, really big crowds. And that's exciting for our brand of football because we are on TV more now. And so when you turn the TV on and you see these games and you see the crowds and how raucous we are and just the excitement around football, I think is going to make the ESPNs of the world say, hey, we may need to take a deeper look at these TV deals because SWAC football is kind of where it's at right now, and again, we're excited about that. And we want to make sure we continue to do our part to bring awareness to not only Florida A&M in the SWAC, but all HBCUs.
By the way, that's a nice shirt, Coach. I really like it.
Merch. We need a coach's store. Coach, you have an NIL deal? We need like a coach's store or something like
Merch.
Dress like Willie Simmons. I mean, come on, something, man.
Go ahead, I chip in, Coach. I'm with
you. Exactly. I'm in. Yeah, Man, go ahead, Coach.
All right. So, Coach, last year really with our running game, we saw a formula where the times where we were able to run the ball effectively or run the ball more, we actually won those games. Talk about our running back situation at Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University and how you are excited or how excited you are with the talent level that is in the backfield currently.
Sorry about that, Coach. Go ahead with your comments. Sorry about that.
That's a nice lead in to
Producer,
talk about the running game.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what the producer might have been. No, just kidding. Go ahead, Coach.
Did you hear me?
No, but yeah, I did. I
Yeah.
got the questions. We're really excited about our ground game this year. We feel we have 3 backs who can really tote the rock. They're all big backs. So the one thing that we lost with Bishop, we lost kind of that lightning in the bottle aspect of you give him a small space and he can take it the distance. And so these guys aren't necessarily that. But again, you don't want to tackle these big backs for 4 quarters. You look at Terrell Jennings, 230-pound running back at 6 feet. Jalen McLeod, 6'1", 245, and then AJ Davis, at 6 foot, 215, 220. All physical running backs with really good feet, really good vision, and they run hard. So again, when you're having to tackle those guys over and over and over again for 4 quarters, it weighs on you. And so again, wears on you. And so we hope that downhill running style that we'll employ really opens up things in the passing game. And I think this year we're probably the most balanced that we've been. In years past, when Ryan was here, we threw the ball really well. And didn't necessarily run it particularly great. Last season we were able to run the ball and really establish the ground game and control the clock. But there were times where we struggled throwing the football. I think this year, for the first time, we'll be able to run the ball effectively as well as push the ball downfield. And so I'm excited about the playmakers that we recruited here to Florida A&M. And I think we'll have an open offense that's very multiple and that can give you a myriad of looks. 2 running back sets, 2 tight end sets, 4 wide sets. We're really deep at every position. And I think that gives us a great advantage. And defense is trying to scheme against us.
Any 3 running back sets, Coach? just seriously. But how big of an impact has your running back coach had on the running game?
Well, I think Coach Wyndham has come in and done a great job of really making those guys understand what it means to play the running back position. Number one, ball security. We have a saying around here that ball security is job security. It's job security for the players, also job security for us as coaches. Right? You put the ball on the ground a lot, you're probably not going to be around very long. So just making those guys understand how important it is to protect the ball, to protect the quarterback. You got to be able to block in this offense and protect the quarterback and understand protections, know what the offensive line is calling and be in sync with them. You have to be a dynamic player on the perimeter, right? We do throw our running back the ball in space. We try to get them out on the perimeter and allow them to make plays. And so just, the more multifaceted we can be from that position, the more dynamic we can be, the more explosive we can be as an offense. So I think the experience that Coach Wyndham brings here and what he's brought to that group will give us a chance to have one of the top, if not the top running back groups, not only in the SWAC, but really in FCS football.
I'm a coach.
All right, Coach, I know you've been gracious with your time this evening. You're still working. Hopefully you're not there too late in the evening tonight. I want to give you a chance to have the final word, talk to Rattler Nation, let us know what the travel plans are for the rest of the week, anything you want to say to Rattler Nation that's watching.
We're really excited. This is game week. One more day of preparation before we, load the plane on Friday to head up to Chapel Hill. We'll take the guys to the basketball museum once we get to Chapel Hill, and then we'll head over to the hotel and start our game day preparation. So we're excited, looking forward to seeing Rattler Nation, show up in droves. And we know a lot of people are talking about making the trip to North Carolina, and we're excited about that. And then obviously the following week is a huge week as well, going down to Miami Gardens. So, I'm challenging every Rattler to, again, just do what we've always done, which is show why we're the best fan base in America. Show why Rattler Nation is envied by other programs, by the way we travel and the way we support our young men. And so our guys feed off your energy. When they look up in the stands and they see that orange and green screaming and cheering, we feed on that, especially when we're on the road. We're going into a hostile environment. It'll be late at night up in Keenan Stadium, 8:30, 8:20 kickoff. I joke that, down here in the South, we're a turkey leg and beer crowd. Up there in the Carolinas, they're more of a wine and cheese crowd. So, they'll be sipping their wine from 8 a.m. all the way to kickoff. So they may be a little buzzed, which means they may be a little bit loud come Saturday evening. Nothing like we'd be down here in Tallahassee. We'll be popping those bottles of alcohol and liquor and beer, from early in the morning, so we get a little bit more turned up on game day than they do. But again, I want to have Rattler Nation right there supporting us. Be loud, be raucous, and lead us to victory. The 100 will be there. So again, excited about the March 100 being there, and we'll make sure we do our part. So it should be a fun day. Kick off the 2020 season. I couldn't be more excited to be the leader of this phenomenal program.
Well, thank you, Coach. We're excited in so many ways to have you leading the program and for this team. This is a special year, so let's document it. Start it with a dub, and like you told those guys got to go get checks as it's coming Saturday night. So safe travels to you and the team and the staff. The 100, everybody's gonna strike. Make sure we all get up there and be loud and proud, okay? Coach, as always, thanks for your time. Thanks for the breaking news today for us, and God bless you, Coach. Stay well.
I'm gonna go ahead and log off because I know Coach is about to start back talking stuff I don't need to be privy to, so I'm gonna go ahead and log off.
Yeah, go ahead, log off, Coach. Log off. That's all right. You can log off now. All right, Coach. Thank you. All right, again, that's the head ball coach, ladies and gentlemen.
Show me my money.
Making the big announcement. QB1, Jeremy Musa. The moose is loose. We are excited. Got to go get those that hat with those moose ears because I got a feeling. I just got a feeling. Look, let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll kind of get ourselves prepared. We've got Ken Riley II coming up. We're going to talk a little bit about the legend, Ken Riley, as he's preparing. And we're still going to get into talking about this game against North Carolina, some of the names that Coach spotlighted, and also that AD search, kind of clarify or give a few people who aren't in the loop some names that they can be excited potentially for. I'm getting ready to get my shoes on and walk because I already told y'all I might be walking from Orlando to Tallahassee and shouting outside of Lee Hall if some things don't happen. But anyway, that's just my pledge.
You ain't gonna walk nowhere, buddy.
I'm gonna start a donate. Look, you calling my bluff? Okay, I'm gonna start a GoFundMe campaign, and you watch. Let's take a break. You're watching the ONG Strike Zone.
This is Ryan Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Can I get the now bar, please? $1. Have a good one. Got it.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey.
Let me get a now bar.
Sure. $1.
Appreciate you.
Got it.
Majesty is a premium health and wellness tea line focused on bringing delicious yet healthy tea blends to the community. Filled with an abundance of vitamins and antioxidants, we work to blend teas with exotic spices and fruits to produce scrumptious and wholesome beverages. So check us out at mymajesties.com. That's MyMajesties.com. My Majesties, an Urban Passport member.
At Hampton Law, our primary goal is to provide non-traditional yet effective solutions and redefine the approach to client legal concerns. As your trusted legal advisor, we believe in sophisticated, personalized services that eliminate the confusion and complexity sometimes associated with legal matters. Our high standard for client care and concern, coupled with our extensive legal knowledge and skills, make Hampton Law a resource focused on the protection of the client's interest and overall goals. We value our clients and truly enjoy working with them. Visit thamptonlaw.com to conveniently schedule an appointment online. Tamika Hampton Esquire, 1631 Rock Springs Road, Suite 336, Apopka, Florida, 407-5
494-1471. thamptonlaw.com.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Stillman College is an HBCU in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, where we prepare students for a different world. Stillman is a college of distinction for last year and this year. Our largest majors are business and biology, followed closely by psychology, criminal justice, and history for pre-law, communications, English, and religion. Our newest degree programs are in the Department of Computational Sciences, which covers cybersecurity, data analytics, and math. The Biomedical Academy prepares students for competitive entry into health professions and graduate programs. We have established summer biomedical research internships with major research institutions, such as the University of Alabama, Drexel and Temple Universities in Philadelphia, the Salk Institute in San Diego, California, and the universities of Florida, Indiana, and Iowa. We became creative with social distancing and masks for the pandemic. Our students enjoy movie nights at the stadium and the new Melissa and Davis Legacy Courtyard, where you can eat and enjoy friends. We have the Divine Nine Greek letter organizations, student government leadership, and ambassadors. Our small class sizes, nurturing faculty, and friendly environment let you know that Black Lives Matter at Stillman College each and every day. Applications are free. Sign up at discover.stillman.edu. Complete the contact card and apply today. Stillman College, where we prepare students for a different world.
Let's get back to strolling instead of scrolling. Before we can safely come together, we need the facts on COVID-19 vaccines. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision for yourself and for your family.
All right, welcome back to the O&G Strike Zone. Brian Fulford, Kelvin Rozier, Kofi Hemingway, and a great interview there with Coach Simmons and the team. So that's we appreciate Coach coming in, and you know, I mean, just good stuff, man. Always from Coach. So hey, want to put out our 3 questions of the night for you. Hopefully you can write these down and remember these. We thought I was going to have these up on the screen, so we're working through that. So just follow me here. If you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, go ahead and hit that thumbs up on the actual broadcast. First off, how many overall wins will FAMU have this season? So overall wins, we're playing 11 games scheduled, 11 regular season games, 1 FBS opponent, and 1 D2 opponent here in the first 3 weeks of the season. Second question, what will our SWAC record be this year in the regular season? 8 games, SWAC season. What will our record be? And then let's see those score predictions. FAMU, UNC Saturday. Jeremy Moose is starting. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? What are our scores? Let's just get one of the questions out of the way. I'll ask you. We may have touched on this in a previous show, guys, but we'll run it back. Overall wins this year, Kelvin. How many overall wins do you foresee this year?
All right, I got a homer pick and then my honest analyst pick. The homer pick is 11-1.
Of course. See, let's
Yeah,
not do the
11-1.
homer. We know we all want a perfect season. We want a perfect season, 11 wins. So I mean,
right.
Yeah. So
So
all right.
So what I think what we're looking at more than likely because of the competition is 92.
Okay, Kofi, how about you?
I'm gonna go with Kelvin and say 11-1. Ideally, I want us to be 13-0. With a SWAC conference championship along with a Celebration Bowl win. But I'll take 12-1. Our floor would be 8-3.
Floor be 8-3. I tend to agree with you there on the floor, 8-3. I've actually 9-2. And I'm basing that off of. I'm also thinking about our conference, and that's regular season. And I've been well documented in saying that I predict FAMU to win the SWAC East. Unlike many of the other people on the Black College Sports Network, and it seems to be a lot of other places. The latest HBCU Pro Sports Media Association poll that'll be dropping. A lot of people picking Jackson State. Hey, that's great. That's great. Good for you. All will be proven wrong in a couple of weeks. All will be proven wrong in a couple of weeks. So I'm going 9-2 overall record. Let's talk SWAC record in an 8-game regular season. I've got 7-1. I think is where I predicted a 7-1 in the SWAC. What about you, Kelvin? You're shaking your head, sort of in agreement.
7-1, and the one would not be JSU.
Bingo. Kofi, what about you?
What were we asking about now?
SWAC record.
Oh, 8-0.
8-0. All right, nice. Just kind of going through. Mel, I don't know if you can throw the chat window up there. I know that a lot of people are dropping. I see Dr. Lori dropped. She's got an 11-1. I like your score prediction there, Doc. Dwayne, Sweet, 12-1, 8-0. Perfect. EA's got an 8-3, 6-2. Montre Bennett. I see a lot of people dropping those. Drop those score predictions too, guys. Don't forget to drop those score predictions there in the chat. Real quick, before we get to our next guest, Ken Riley II, want to make some mention here as we get ready to sort of transition to this sort of little NFL conversation here. Got to give a shout out to Marquise Bell. As I had the article. Oh, here it is. Nope, that's not it. I just had it. This past weekend, he started. Where is it? Okay, here it is. He started for Dallas. He's at safety. Dallas ended up winning the game 32-18 over the Chargers. Marquise finished with 5 tackles, which were the second most on the team. All of them were solo. He played 72% of the defensive snaps, even 9 special team snaps. Just in looking, and I'm going off of Luke Williams, Black College Sports page, does a great summary of HBCU guys in the NFL. I think Marquise had the most defensive snaps of anybody I see. Now, of course, there's some guys on this list who are actual starters. So, those guys don't count necessarily. What I will say was kind of interesting, the summary that Luke put together, HBCU players by position in NFL camps, right? 11 are offensive linemen, the most of any one position, with defensive backs being number 2. 7 total, Marquise being the only safety. The rest are defensive backs. There are 4 receivers, 4 defensive linemen, 4 linebackers in NFL camps, 1 running back, and 1 punter. 0 quarterbacks. That was the number that kind of was a bit sad and depressing. 0 quarterbacks. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. Any thoughts there on Marquise or those numbers of HBCU guys in NFL camps, guys?
Marquise and Jacoby are doing it. I just heard that Houston got cut in Detroit, but I believe somebody's going to pick him up. I believe he's going to eventually play for somebody. He's too talented. But Marquise is still on the squad, so I'm looking forward to him making the team. Once he makes that final cut, it'll be a celebration in Rattler Nation. So I'm looking for him to keep doing a great job, keep playing aggressive. We all know the type of hitter that Marquise Bell is. He's always around the ball. And, just to watch him grow as a professional, I think is just such a blessing. He couldn't have gotten a better defensive coordinator than Quinn going into his first year. With a marquee team like the Dallas Cowboys. It's a big deal. So he'll definitely bring the spotlight. He'll be in the spotlight, makes the team, being on America's team, and that's going to bode well for not just FAMU, but all HBCU athletes.
Kelvin, what do you got quickly, and then we'll jump in with Ken Riley II.
Okay, so if James Houston, let me go and check my thing with James Houston, see if he got cut or not. Somebody said he got cut.
He's still there. So go ahead, Kelvin. You want to jump in there?
Marquise, we knew he was a pro from the day he stepped on our campus to he playing his last down. You saw him get South Florida make 15 tackles, Southeastern Louisiana 15 tackles. I mean, he's a difference maker. So it was no surprise to us that when he got to the pros, he was going to be a difference maker there. What he brings to the table translates: size, speed, IQ. He's a humble kid. He's a hard worker. So all that resonates. One thing I will emphasize that Kobe is exactly right about is he fell into a great situation too. A team that really wanted him was going to draft him if he hadn't failed. And they paid him as soon as he didn't get drafted and brought him in. And then having a defense coordinator like Quinn, who knows how to use safeties with his skill and has a history in the NFL with safeties with his size, speed, and skill set. It's just a really good situation for him. And I've enjoyed the interviews and how he's handled the questions and the media side of it. Remain humble, always talking about learning, getting better, doing whatever the team asks. I like that he volunteered and stay after to return kicks and punts and be on special teams because he understands that to make a squad as an undrafted rookie, you have to do all those things. But I don't know how much special teams he gonna play. Because right now, I mean, he started. I know it's preseason still, but he's starting over some other guys, and they had 1 or 2 guys banged up. So as the season gets going, I don't know how much special teams he's gonna end up playing.
All right, let's bring in our next guest. Let's bring in Ken Riley II, and we get a chance to talk to him and get a little bit closer to learning about how close we are to the Rattler actually being in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Ken, thanks for joining us tonight. How you doing? Ken,
can you hear you?
Let's make sure you can hear. Let's make sure he's there. I know he's got, we'll get squared away here with our audio. Might be on his end. Let's see. Ken, are you there with us? All right. Let me see.
You want to go to a
mic
commercial?
check. Well, hold on. Let's give it a second here. I think you may just be trying to get his audio squared away on his end, it looks like. Let's do this. Producer Mel, let's go to a quick commercial. Quick, maybe minute or two. Let's get our audio squared away with Ken Riley and come back. You're watching the ONG Strike Zone on the Black College Sports Network. All right, now we've got him there. Ken Riley II. Ken, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Hey, we're doing well, man. Thank you for coming in and joining us. You might know these two other guys. We haven't had the pleasure of meeting, but you might know these other guys, Kelvin and Kofi, I'm sure.
I definitely know those guys. Go way back. They were actually in my sister's class. So, yep, definitely know them well.
All right. So look, first off, we've got to make mention of how close your father is to becoming a part of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But I want to kind of find out a little bit about your history in sort of when you have a name, Ken Riley. Obviously your dad, legendary moves. He's in coaching, he's in administration. So you're coming up with that same name, trying to establish your own path. What's it like for Ken Riley II coming up, following behind a Hall of Famer like your dad?
It was a great experience. Started off at FAMU High. Like I said, Kevin and Kofi. I remember Kevin playing wide receiver. Kofi was drum major. But it was, like I said, definitely a great experience. Like I said, started off at FAMU High, then went to FAM and had the privilege to play for my father. I felt that I couldn't get any more better knowledge from the guy who played 15 years in the NFL. So it was definitely a great time, to play for him and be there and continue that legacy, because pretty much the majority of my family went to Florida A&M. So it was a great experience.
And I mean, when I first got to FAMU, you obviously, your father was coaching, and then he later moved into administration, and so that, unfortunately, that sort of is what we've been chasing, is that stability that we had when your father was the athletic director along with Dr. Humphrey. So, but maybe give us some takeaways from, his what was his mindset, or what was his plan for FAMU as he maybe moved from the coach to the athletic director. What was that period like?
Well, I think it was kind of a smooth transition, and I think it worked out. Him being the athletic director, like I said, with Coach Humphries being the president, and then Billy Joe coming along. I think that they were a great team, and I think my dad, being that coach, knew what was needed. So now he was in a position as athletic director to provide those resources for Coach Billy Joe. And Coach Billy Joe just took it and ran with it. And of course, President Humphries was fully supportive of the football team, and so it was a great time during those times, because, like I said, all three worked together, and like I said, they put up some winning years, and a lot of MEAC championships, and got one game from the final, I believe, when Quinn Gray was a quarterback. So. It was definitely some good times back then.
Definitely. Kelvin, go ahead.
First of all, I just want to comment and say that Ken, too, was a really good cornerback who played, I believe, 4 years, started 4 years at FAMU. But in my opinion, he was a better wide receiver. Had really good hands and really good feet. So a lot of people don't know that, but he could have been a hell of a receiver too. Now, with that being said, I want you to kind of talk about your dad. Really was really humble guy. Didn't talk about himself publicly a lot. I wonder, did he ever talk to you all in terms of the Hall of Fame specifically, and you know, what it means for youth in the family, especially at this point since he's no longer here. If he was to make that final hurdle and get into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, like you said, you hit it on the head. He was a very humble, soft-spoken, but he definitely felt that the Hall of Fame. He put up the statistic to be in the Hall of Fame and thought he should have been there. And the next year, be 40 years since the last time he played. He retired in 1983, and at the time of his retirement, he was fourth all time, and still to this day, he's fifth all time. And many people don't really know he's second all time true corner, because a lot of those guys ahead of him, like the Woodsons and a few other guys just named, they all switched later in their careers to safety, but he stayed on that corner for 15 years, and that's just remarkable. And growing up, you think 65, that's no number to sneeze at, because I played corner and I think I had like 6 or 7 my entire career. So it's hard to get interceptions, and I don't care if they throw it at you 1,000 times. It's just hard. You got to be in position to make the play, and then you got to have good enough hands to catch it. So 65 is, like I said, everybody above him and people below him are already in the Hall of Fame. And it's unfortunate, that he passed away 2 years ago. I remember in 2019 they had the centennial class, and I think that's when they increased the number to like maybe 20 got in at one time. And we really thought that was going to be the year, just because the volume of guys that went in that year. But after 2019, he didn't get in. That was probably the most disappointed I'd ever seen him, because like I said, he felt that his work definitely spoke for itself, and he put in, he had the stats for it, but he's not going to, kind of beg anybody, or he wasn't boastful, and, he's just, hey, I've done all I can do, and he definitely felt he should have got in. But my point, in 2019, when he didn't get in, he was like, I'm just, I'm done with it. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But I remember telling him, and I told him that, right before he passed, I was like, you're going to get in. That's the last thing I do. I'm going to continue to work to push to get him in. And this year, he's finally made it to, the finalists. He's over that hump, because this was the biggest hump here, becoming a finalist for the senior, from the seniors. So it was very excited about our chances to be the part of the class of 2023.
Go ahead, Coach.
Hey, man, so did your dad ever talk about, because at FAMU, he was a QB. So did he ever talk about, like, man, they got me out here on this corner and stuff, but I could have been out there and been a QB. So did he ever talk about, just having to overcome that stereotype, or what kind of disappointment that was or was he disappointed to have to make that transition to corner from QB?
Well, yeah, he definitely always said he thought he could be a quarterback. I was like, yeah, right. Yeah, but because he was that scrambling. But he kind of compared himself to Russell Wilson. He said he actually had a better arm, but I definitely knew he was a scrambler. But when he was drafted back then, there was the times when there weren't any black quarterbacks. That was rare. Shaq Harris played for Grambling. He was one of the first quarterbacks, a good friend of his, and he's works with the Black College Hall of Fame. But the day he got drafted, he was just a kid, just finished, just recently married, and Coach Paul Brown said, you're moving the corner. So he didn't have an option, but that was the competitive in him, even though he was soft-spoken, but he very competitive, extremely competitive. And he said, he just made up in his mind that he had some other teammates that had made it the year before. And, once they switched him, he was just a great athlete, quick feet, very smart. He was a Rhodes Scholar. And I think that played a lot into it, being a quarterback, because he was smart and he was just a heck of an athlete. And so once they told him he was going to make it a corner, which is even more remarkable because he never played defense ever, not through college or high school. So to make that transition at the highest level still just blows my mind. And then he was playing for Coach Paul Brown, who was no nonsense. And, at the time, he used to tell me stories that when he went to camp, it was like 8 weeks, and there were 40 safeties and corners. So it was 40 people in 8 weeks of camp, and he was able to come out of that group, and he started his rookie year, and for 15 years. So again, it's just a testimony to the type of athlete and what he was able to accomplish.
Ooh, man, that was 8 weeks. I mean, when you you think guys barely hit for a week these days.
Yeah.
They've got limited number, man. That's whew.
6 preseason games, and they only played 4 regular season games. So to get those 65 interceptions, like I said, and they weren't throwing back then. So I mean, I can go on and on why he should be in there, and it's just Cincinnati is a small market. He, like I say, he's on top of he's very mild mannered. Just got overlooked a lot of times, and it's unfortunate. But like I said, now we're in a great position, and definitely looking forward to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, sort of was where I was going with my next question about what, hard to speculate. Was it one thing or a combination? You just mentioned the Cincinnati, the franchise, the smaller market, your dad's personality. Do you sometimes feel like if Cincinnati was doing a little bit more winning in the 90s, post his retirement, or even the 2000s. Actually, they were winning in the 90s, so let me correct that. It was the decade after that where they kind of struggled a little bit. That you think some different factors might have put more visibility on him, and then maybe talk about who other than yourself, who's been out championing his position, because I know that's a part of it too. The politics of getting into the Hall, there's that factor too.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of factors that play into it. One of the big knacks that everybody who didn't support him would say he never made a Pro Bowl, but which is, again, that's the popularity contest. He should have made a Pro Bowl. In fact, in 1976, 9 interceptions, led the conference in interceptions. His last game, he got 3 interceptions, 2 off of Joe Namath. So that was a big knock, saying he never made a Pro Bowl. But again, that's popularity. They say players vote, but they're a small market. If they vote for one person, everybody vote for the same person. So that was one of the knocks. And then on top of Cincinnati wasn't winning a lot during those years, and they only have one true Bengal in the Hall of Fame. That's Anthony Munoz right now. And so it's just one of those things where, like I said, they never got the respect that they deserve. And Cincinnati themselves really didn't promote their past and former players at the time. But now they have really made some changes. Elizabeth, she's one of the owner's granddaughters, and she's come in, and they are, they started the Ring of Honor. You probably can see the jacket behind me. That he was part of that initial class. They've been doing a lot of the fans are always great, though. They've been great for years, but they really have a strong social media presence. And one guy in particular, his name is, we call him Bingo Jim. He's spearheaded a lot of the social media. He did Rumble to the Jungle, Rumble to the Hall, and they actually did like a little rally for some of the former Cincinnati Bengals players. And like I said, with the Ring of Honor, Cincinnati's doing a lot of things, and it's just been he's been gaining that momentum. A couple of years ago, he made it to the finals for the senior list, but he never made it to this point. He was one of the finalists for the seniors, but this is, like I said, in this point in the process, it's only been one time when they haven't gone over that threshold, being a senior finalist. So uh, I think we're in a really great position at this time, and like I said, things happen for a reason. When it's, you always said that, when it's your time, it's your time, and that was one of the biggest things. My father believed that, like I said, you only control what you can control. So he never got too high, too low, but I'm really excited about it this time.
All right, and just to let people know, so that senior committee where he's at, as you said, only, I mean, it pretty much is once you've hit that point. There's been very rare. You mentioned one time where someone did not make it past, even though they have like an 80%. You have to have an 80% vote, but I mean, at this point, they've been vetting guys all this time, so it's like you're down to 3 names.
Yeah, it's a little different because people don't know, like, because I know, like, months in advance, because most people see, they'll see in January, they'll see, like for instance, Cliff Branch with when he went in as a senior candidate, but August was the time to get to the senior committee. So the way it works is, you have to be retired 25 years or more to be considered a senior. And once you become a senior, they call it like the black hole, because it's so many, thousands of players that have, retired and been 25 years or more. So the list is long, and so many deserving players. It was only one person going in per year. So last year it was Cliff Branch. The year before that was Drew Pearson. So out of thousands and thousands of these former players, and I mean great names and people well deserving, only one person would go. Just this year they increased that number to 3. So and 2 years ago he was, like I said, he was at the cusp, but then Drew Pearson got it, and then last year Cliff Branch got it, and so it's rough. It's really rough because, like I said, it's hard to say everybody has a favorite, and there's a lot of deserving guys out there. So I'm just finally glad that he was able to get past this point, and hopefully, in February it'll be official, and then we'll get everybody in Canton in July or August.
August. Okay, so that's what I was going to ask. So February is sort of that time around the Super Bowl, if I'm not mistaken, right? So that's
Super
when
Bowl week.
that's when it'll be in Super Bowl week. All right, so Super Bowl week, that's when we'll know. So we'll kind of be sitting on pins and needles, and you got to go through the whole season process, and hopefully, well, when does so the voting is Super Bowl week, correct?
Yeah, so
January.
now, since they had the siege, I think this week they announced the contributors. So the contributors, like reporters and announcers and that type of thing. And then once they have that group, so then they'll just wait until they'll narrow down the Martin guy. Martin somebody that retired 5 years up to 25 years. And so they'll announce that semifinalist. And then the Super Bowl week, you'll see them knocking on the door and say, hey, congratulations. It's during that time where they'll announce, the senior committee, the contributors, and the Martin Day guys. And then that'll make up that 2023 class. So, yeah, it's sometime like the end of January. They'll do that, like I said, right before the Super Bowl.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll be on pins and needles, kind of waiting and watching. Hopefully, during the course of the season, the continued promotion will happen. I know. I mean, the tweets are heavy. Obviously, there's the Ken Riley Foundation as well. We give the plugs and the social media plugs, and let people know how they can support the foundation, how they can follow you, how they can just keep the name alive. And when you see those retweets, you just got to continue to retweet them, right? Let people know how they can stay abreast of what's going on.
Yeah, it's basically my Twitter is K Riley, and I'm just Ken Riley second. Then we have the Ken Riley Foundation 13. That's on Twitter. And I forgot Vaughn. Vaughn has been there. He actually came up to the Ring of Honor. He has some ideas, and Vaughn always reaches out with some ideas he's trying to help me with. So But definitely, yeah, just retweet, and it's like I said, we'll just keep pushing, and
So
hopefully, I'm go ahead.
no, keep pushing. I want you to finish your statement, and then I had a question.
Oh yeah, I was
Real
just saying
quick.
we're just gonna keep. Like I said, we were right at the finish line, and just we're gonna keep pushing to go forward. Probably make some Cincinnati games. We plan on me and my family plan on coming down to the Labor Day Classic, so that's always fun. So we're looking forward to that as well.
But so if he makes it in, and when he makes it in, can the 100 go?
Hey, that would be great if we can get them there. Of course, but I'll go through you, Kobe. You can help set that up, man. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, we want to come on up in there. Blam, blam.
That would be an intro.
That would be awesome. Well, hey, Ken, appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on, and just sharing some thoughts and some memories. Your dad and we're supporting, we're rooting, we're hoping like heck that this is finally that time, and that we put another Rattler in the Hall of Fame, and then Tallahassee, FAMU, Rattler Nation can just be a lot of orange up in Canton in August, right? Be a lot of orange and black, orange and green. It'll be ridiculous. I know. So
that's right.
Yeah.
Forward to it.
Yeah.
I really do.
All right. Hey, if there's anything happening with the foundation that you want to share with us, please let us know. And you always got a home here at the O&G Strike Zone, and we're glad to share whatever we can. Okay.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Good seeing you guys.
Let's go.
All right. Again, Ken Riley II. Let's take a short break. Come back with more. You're watching the O&G Strike Zone. We'll be back in just a moment.
Let's face it, shopping for insurance can be time-consuming. That's why when it comes to your auto, home, and life insurance needs, make things simple and trust the experts at Allstate. They will help you get the coverage that fits your needs while helping you bundle your life, home, and auto policies. Bundling saves you money, sure, but it also saves you time, so you can enjoy the things that matter most even more. Contact me, Tammy Haynes, your local agent, for a free personalized insurance quote. Allstate, are you in good hands?
This is Ryan Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
All right. Welcome back to the O&G Strike Zone. Brian, Kelvin, Kofi, and here we are coming into the fourth quarter. We got a lot of stuff to get into here. We're going to take you around the horn with some different news and notes that we've prepared that we want to hit on. Obviously, you know, as we talk about the football season starting, we got to talk about the volleyball season starting. Our Lady Rattlers preseason game, 3-2 over West Florida. Obviously, that was preseason, so you know we're not gonna panic. We're not gonna get crazy with it. So this weekend, matter of fact, starting on Friday, they opened the regular season in Manhattan, Kansas, on the campus of Kansas State University, with a 3-game tournament type thing. Obviously, first game out the box, they play NC State. That is an 11 a.m. Eastern or a 10 a.m. Central first serve match. That is Central Time out in Kansas. Of course, Nina Sharpton, who just recently transferred to the team, she's a former NC State Wolfpack, so she'll get to go up against some of her old teammates. Then later on that day, Lady Rattlers take on Sam Houston at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:30 Central. Then on Saturday, they take on Kansas State at 1:30 Eastern Time, 12:30 Central. And so I think the NC State and Kansas State games are the ones that we're most watching, because those are the games against two teams that I think, last I checked, are top 50. I'll confirm that while you guys make a quick mention of volleyball. Go ahead.
Well, looking forward to it. I was glad to see us battle through and get the W against West Florida. West Florida's D2, but they were also D2 Power.
Number 5.
Yeah, and they went to the playoffs and won their conference. So you know they are no joke, right? And so the fact that our team bringing in the new talent along with what we have returning was able to get that kind of challenge and still come out with the W is a good sign. And kind of to mimic what Coach Simmons was saying about playing the University of North Carolina, I want to see this team, compete and see, where we are against these close to top 25. I think one of them is top 25, but let's see where we are early in the season, knowing that it's early in the season, because I just think that talent level is there to be competitive. So I want to see if we win some sets or if we can pull off a W.
Yeah. Kansas State, just looking here at Massey, a Big 12 coming in ranked 41 in the nation. NC State 55. So, two top 55 programs. And so this will be a good opportunity for the Lady Rattlers to and this is where they started last year in getting that excitement in the possibility. I mean, they only lost 6 games overall last year. So they won these contests against Power 5 opponents last year. So you gotta think we're a little stronger, I think, than last year. So the upside is possible. Any thoughts you want to jump in and add there, Kofi, before we move on to the next item?
Hello?
Yeah, you back.
Did I lose Kofi? All right.
He back.
Not sure. Did you want to add anything on volleyball, Kofi?
I mean, we know what the expectations are. Obviously, Kelvin covered the win over the University of West Florida, who will probably soon be at the FCS level sooner than later. That was definitely a good W. That was definitely a good win. And, to see us go up against, Power 5 opponents this upcoming games, that's a big deal. And I think we have an opportunity to showcase FAMU volleyball, and I want to see us get some dubs.
got to make mention. Moving on to another news story that happened. If you watched the the Willie Simmons live show on Monday, you saw a new host of that show, and that is Melvin Beal. And Melvin will also be the new play-by-play voice for the Rattler Sports Network, calling games this upcoming season. Most likely with Albert Chester. You know, you heard he was on our show a couple weeks ago and had plans on being a part of the game day broadcast for the Rattler Sports Network. You know, Melvin and Albert have worked together before. Melvin is a not only a FAMU graduate, he graduated from the School of Journalism, a Rickards High grad, so he's from Tallahassee. So, you know, he actually started calling games as far back as 2018. So, you know, he's a familiar voice, a familiar face. And I think the biggest question for me, guys, and this is a question I asked A.D. Smith, what's our volleyball coverage going to be like? Because I kind of wondered that exhibition game on a Friday afternoon. You know, I was kind of wondering, well, is there an opportunity to just put that up on Facebook so that people, you know, I want to see us with some more coverage of our Olympic sports, you know, volleyball, softball, baseball. You know, I know they're going to show the men's and women's basketballs, but I think we've got a championship volleyball program. I would like to see us get some coverage. And you know, I don't know about the coaches shows. What is the radio scene like in Tallahassee? Is the Rattler Sports Nation Network still just digital? Is it are they terrestrial on radio anymore? You guys tell me.
I don't really have a whole lot to say about it because I'm not sure who is behind it right now. I know back in our day, of course, Keith Miles had a lot to do with it, but I'm not sure if he's still running the show with that. And I'm not sure. I mean,
my understanding is that it's in-house now in terms it belongs to FAMU Athletics. Now there was some missteps last year, so it wasn't on our normal flagship radio station here, and it was run through the university platform, and which by streaming it made it available nationally, but you didn't have your local radios and so forth that were involved previously in different markets. So I don't know if they've fully flushed out how it's going to look this year. I think it's still a work in progress.
Okay, I just saw somebody post that football will be on 90.5.
That's where it was last year.
Okay.
But that was last minute. Just for the record, it was last minute last year with the whole 90.5, and of course with everything hitting A.D. Smith all at one time. You know, I believe that it may be subject to change, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, I would look. Hey, that's just one of those things that I would hope people would get behind. Ask, you know, send an email. Let Mike Smith. He's not going to run away from it. So let's send him an email. Find out. I'll certainly do more inquiries. Speaking of that, I did talk to him. When I did speak to him, I will kind of go back. A lot of you guys had questions that we didn't get a chance to mention to him in the course of our interview. So I'm going to go back through the chat, pick out some of those questions, even the ones that we got via email, and he's open to coming back again. Now, again, who knows how long this process is going to be for the new AD, but assuming that nothing happens in the next 2-3 weeks, he's going to try to answer a lot of those questions. So that's kind of what I'm going to be doing over the weekend, is going back and trying to gather up some of those questions that you guys asked. Kelvin mentioned earlier the fact that the HBCU Go deal, which originally just had, I believe it just had 2 games on the schedule, 2 home games. Our opening game against Albany State, which actually kicks off their coverage. So when Albany State comes to Tallahassee on September 10th, that kicks off the coverage schedule for HBCU Go. And if you haven't been following the news, of course, that's part of the Byron Allen Media Group, and they just signed some deals to put FAMU or to put their games in 12 major markets. And I would encourage you two things. One, if you go back and listen on the Black College Sports Network, go listen to Dr. Cavill's show from yesterday, Tuesday. He had on, and the name is going to escape me, but the president of HBCU Go was on his show and talked a little bit about the platforms and the ways that you can pick up those games. And so, the fact that FAMU football games will be broadcast in LA, Philadelphia, of course, Atlanta, even San Diego, the large markets will be showing those games. So that's one of three games. The homecoming game against UAPB will be on HBCU Go. And then when FAMU travels to Grambling, that road game, which is one of the few road games that are on either ESPN or HBCU Go, true road games, I should say, that game will be on at Grambling. That'll be broadcast. Anything you want to add to that, guys, so I can quickly find out the name of who was on Doc's show yesterday, quickly, if you want to add something.
It's a big deal, man. I'm glad to see platforms committed and dedicated to highlighting HBCU sports specifically, and then also I like to see some dollar signs behind the deal with the conference. If all is true, I think I saw something that said about 120 million for the conference over, what was it, 10 years or so.
Yeah.
Something that average about $1 million a year for each school. Hey, man, that's a good start. I don't care what nobody say.
That's a minimum.
So
that's
literally,
a minimum.
let me ask this. So there is what other FCS conference has a deal like this?
I don't think there is. I mean,
not with that kind of dollars.
think not with that kind of dollars. I think what you're seeing with the transition of what the CAA is doing, possibly, but again, the thing that separates us is, unlike all of those other FCS, I mean, short of the Mountain, what is that conference that in North Dakota State is? The Missouri Valley. The Missouri Valley might be the biggest conference, but yes, they have North Dakota State in it, but in terms of reach and popularity, do they have what the SWAC and MEAC really have? What the SWAC has? They really don't. They have a good, loyal fan base, but they don't have the numbers. I mean, North Dakota State is not going to put 50, 60,000 in a stadium. FAMU Bethune-Cookman will. Jackson State Grambling will. That's what separates. So one of the things, Curtis Simons of HBCU Go is who Dr. Cavill had on the show the other day. Look, there's a whole long discussion, but I just want you to encourage you to go back and watch that show from Tuesday, episode 295 of Doc's show with Curtis Simons, and a lot of great information and knowledge was dropped. And just by the fact that FAMU will appear not only 3 times on that, five times, and that's free, by the way. Let's be clear about that, free. 5 times on ESPN, only one of those are technically free. Rattler Nation and the Rattler games will be shown 8 times on TV. I didn't even do the math to try to figure out where the other places are that we aren't. So I'll just say that. So good opportunities every weekend starting Saturday to watch HBCU football. That's big. So very important that you watch, put your eyes on it, put your DVR on it, because they will be tracking. This is one of those years where beginning this year, they will be tracking our viewership. And it's so important that we show these advertisers that we watch. All right. All right. Got to bring it back very quickly here because I know people may be wondering. I just want to summarize the AD search. Again, down to 6 names. 2 of the 6 candidates are women. One of the 6 candidates is Caucasian. So you got 4 men, 2 women. It should be noted that the executive committee, 2 candidates received 100% support for the next round. And based on what Dr. Friday Stroud said during the Zoom, the next phase appears to be visits to Tallahassee next week, possibly Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. The scheduling still has to be worked out, but they will be coming to Tallahassee for the next round of interviews. 2 of those got unanimous votes, and by all accounts, Kofi mentioned one of those 2, Craig Angelos, the former AD from Florida Atlantic. The other candidate appears to be Ulander Well Jr., who actually is currently the deputy AD for external ops and relations at Harvard. But he had previous experience as USF's Senior Associate Athletic Director for Administration and Development, where Wells helped USF reach all-time highs for total dollars raised in a single year, $14 million plus, and number of Bulls Club donors, that's 3,800 plus, while assisting the department in surpassing for the first time the 100 Iron Bull mark. I don't know what that, well, here it is, which represents the highest annual giving donor level. There you go. Just got to read, Brian. That's all. He additionally managed all football scheduling and led metric tracking, meetings, and implementation of the department's strategic plan. That all came from Harvard's website. So those are the 2 elite candidates that got the most votes. Then there were 2 other candidates who received a very large segment of votes, and I think they got all but maybe 1 or 2 votes from the full committee staff. And then there were 2 other votes, which were a little more than 50% of the votes. And so those, because of their number in comparison to others, those were brought in. But it really is one of those things where, Kelvin, they had really 4 really strong candidates and 2 kind of split middles, and they said, well, we'll bring 6, which in listening to them debate in the post, I think originally they were supposed to bring, I don't know, maybe they were supposed to bring in 6, or maybe it was 5 or 4. Somehow it came to 6. I think they're going to go to Dr. Robinson with 6. But anyway,
yeah,
that's how all that shook
4.
out.
Originally, in the way they described it, it was supposed to go. They supposed to recommend 4, in no particular rank order.
That's crazy.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, that's how that came. Kofi, you want to add any thoughts on the other unanimous? I'm not sure if you got a chance to hear. He was the last interview. Anything you want to add? You made some very great points for Mr. Angelos. Didn't know if you want to add anything regarding Wells.
Wells is a brilliant guy. He was another guy that brought millions, to his institution. But I saw all of the interviews, and I'm looking at the experience and all of that stuff, and I stand by what I said earlier. I want to say, obviously, there was some controversy, but for me, I stand by what I said earlier. Yeah, there's no controversy. It's really none, if you ask me. He stands Angelos far and away, from an experience standpoint, from a facility standpoint, from an NCAA standpoint, from a compliance standpoint, and the
Right,
fact that
right,
he wants
right.
to be here. He did
Right.
not say FAMU.
Thank you.
He
Yes,
said
he did
Rattler
not.
Nation. He mentioned the 107.
Yes. Yes. Yes, and he wore, and he was appropriate. I think I discounted anybody in the process, Kelvin, who didn't wear orange and green. So I thankfully I think all 6 of me. If you didn't have a shade of orange or green on, I discounted you.
Can you hear me?
Hey, we pay it like that. We pay it like that, Brian. We pay attention.
We are petty, yes.
Can you hear me?
Kofi, yeah, did you hear what I said? I told Kelvin, I said, if you didn't wear orange and green to the interview, I discounted you instantly.
It was
I'm
an
just
X. It's
yes.
like full. Look, I'm sorry, I almost messed up, bro. What's coming in? Ooh, I almost cussed. Look,
you did.
Like,
I know you
our
almost
colors
did.
are orange and green. Like, why are you coming in with purple on? Like, sir, why are you coming in with purple? You know, come on now. You ain't know where you. That tells me, sir.
He like Prince. He like Prince.
Sir, no. Either you was a Q, and I get the whole Omega Psi-Phi thing, but that don't trump you coming to an interview at a job at a place. You don't get it. You not ready. You coming in there with some purple on.
So
like,
we
boy,
can,
go sit down somewhere. Look,
we can say that.
No,
I
mean,
all of the candidates.
Angelos, to his credit,
Right.
had on an orange tie.
Yes.
So he's familiar, and he has orange and green attire, and that's not the reason why. He didn't say FAMU. That was a plus.
That's big.
That is big.
That was a plus.
He said FAMU.
Huge.
He mentioned 100. He mentioned Rattler Nation. But
big
all
time.
of that's great.
Big time.
You know, and I will say again, Angela gave a tremendous presentation and interview. She is well spoken as anybody I know. If I had somebody that was going to speak for me or fight for my life and, you know, had to make an argument, I'm trying to tell you, Angela can get that job done. Angela could do that. You know, she's extremely articulate. Marvin was so passionate. And again, when you connect with me on that level, you know, for me, I felt his passion and love for FAMU. I like the fact that he had a PowerPoint presentation at the end. He came in prepared. He came in talking about the fact that, you know, one of my jobs is to raise the budget to at least darn 12 million.
Yeah.
Let's get to 15. You know, that was something that tells me that he has an inner knowledge of where we are now and where we need to be if we're talking about being competitive. But again, you know, Angelos came in that mug with law, NCAA, facilities, understanding that what it means to build a program from scratch. You know, I'm like, whew,
okay.
you know what you're talking about.
So again, none of the names have officially been released by the university, which they won't. But I'm sure, besides us, there are other places that are be able to distribute the information of names. You can go back. I think you can go back and watch the videos on Zoom. I don't know the official link or how to, but you can do that. And if you listen, you can put 2 and 2 together this day and age, thanks to the internet. That's the power of the internet. So that's one thing.
Let me just go back again. Let me just say this again.
Quickly. Yes, sir.
Don't be rushing me and talking about some quickly. You be sitting up there with all them stats and everything, telling everybody your whole life story and stats and everything, trying to cut me off. All I'm saying is Angelos deserves a serious look. Bump all that color stuff. For anybody that's color struck and all that foolishness, he know what he doing. So let's go.
All right, Kelvin, and anything you want to add before we move forward?
No, I tell you,
don't
I
want to be accused of cutting anybody off.
When he's saying the 4 names, you know, I have a lot to say.
Look,
all right, so
look, just one more thing, because a lot of people, you know, Negroes gonna do their research, right? And they're going to look and they're going to see that Angelos got fired at FAU and he was released. Well, you had a new
Yeah, let me
president.
say, I want to say something. Yes. Yeah, no, you're saying bingo.
No,
Yes. Go ahead.
he had a new president coming in.
Yes. Yep.
Who was listening with coaches, and the coaches were dissatisfied because they're talking about the marketing, right? They're like, we not being marketed and we not getting X, Y, and Z. And so here's my thing. You're in South Florida, you're a new and upstart athletic program. And yes, you need marketing, but you're in the middle of Boca Raton where there are a lot of old people. Okay. You're in the middle of Boca Raton where there are a lot of rich people with a whole bunch of options and stuff like that. So number one in South Florida is going to be the Dolphins. It's going to always be the Dolphins. And I don't care what you say. It's Dolphins, Hurricanes, Heat, Marlins, Panthers. Then you got FIU, your high school football teams, all of this stuff. It's a major competition. So I think some of them were a little bit delusional, because if you're going to get South Florida money, you have got to be absolutely 100% amazing. We got too many options. I can go to the beach. I can go shopping. I can go to a concert. I can go to the zoo. I can travel. I can do a number of things. For you to get money in South Florida, you got to be dynamic. You can't have a losing program in South Florida and expect people going to show up no matter how good your marketing is. That's like ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I think some of their expectations were a little bit unreasonable. But anytime you take 8 years to build a 30,000 seat stadium and you bring that, plus the dynamics of P3, the dynamics of the state university system, you got connections in the political arena, you know what you're doing.
He did point out one thing I did like. He's been the one or two at most of these posts of the past decade. Of course, he spent 9 years as the AD, and then ever since he was either the one or two. So he's been high up on the administrative level food chain. So what I think is interesting is if you do the research and you read the articles, you have to really read the articles. Don't get caught by the headlines. Headlines and articles, two different things. Headlines are meant to draw the eyes. The articles really probably tell the real story of what's going on. Because in that case in point of what you mentioned, the article makes it sound like there's something nefarious there. But really, when you read the article, you're like, oh, the man was dealing with a new president that was there for a month. Of course, yeah. But you look at the work that he did over 8.5 years, and it speaks for itself. And then you look at the other stuff. So I'm not championing one person. I told y'all backstage who I was championing, and I'm willing to walk from Orlando to Lee Hall for this man. I don't know, but that's just in my heart and spirit after his presentation.
Look, and let me let me just say, I mean, I love Angela. Her presentation was second. I mean, it was fiery. It was energetic.
You don't have to continue to sell.
No, I'm just saying. You know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you got
Marvin Green was amazing, and the guy from Harvard was also amazing.
He's feeling a little guilty, is what it is, Kelvin. He's trying to make sure.
That Negro say? I couldn't even hear him. What did he say?
That's all right. Don't worry about it. Kelvin heard. All right, move on here. It's all love. They still gonna love you tomorrow morning, Kofi. It's all good. They still gonna love you tomorrow morning. Quickly, I want to make mention of our questions that are out there. We've talked about the overall record. We've talked about the SWAC record, this game against Carolina. Let's talk about keys to victory. I want to dispel something I heard earlier today. Now, I heard earlier today, that for some thought, or there's a thought that might be running that FAMU is not going to play this game all the way through. Let's just say we have a 7-point game at halftime. There's a thought that maybe FAMU might only be playing worth a half. Like the second half, FAMU's not going to play. I don't believe, I just heard Coach Simmons, if FAMU is in a close ball game at the halftime, we are playing to win that game. Now, again, different story if the halftime score is crazy. But if it's a close game within a touchdown, I'll even say within 10. FAMU is going to play that game to win until maybe it doesn't look like that's going to happen. But if that's a close ball game, FAMU is going to play that game to win. Coach Simmons is, and I don't subscribe to this thought that we're going to get broke up because this is a Power 5. I've seen our guys work. Our guys are working in the offseason. These are D1 level guys that we have littered in this defense and even on the offensive line. So it's not like we're running to North Carolina with lightweights. So let's talk keys to the game. What are your keys to the game, keys to victory, Kelvin?
Quarterback play and offensive line play. I know what I'm gonna get with the defense. I know what I'm gonna get with special teams. I believe. I don't know exactly what Musa gonna bring to the table, and the offensive line. You know, it's gonna take time to gel. But you can win the game or stay in the game by not turning the ball over, not jumping off sides and penalties. So if we keep the turnovers and penalties down, I think the South Florida game last year is kind of like a good reference to what I expect with North Carolina. That was a game we could have been even more. We were competitive in, but we could have even been more competitive had we played a cleaner first half. If we had played the first half like we played the second half. So I'm looking for us the start. For me, it is the start, the first quarter. Because the defense last year, and anytime we played anybody good, even Southeast Louisiana, anytime our defense played anybody good, we got turnovers early. South Florida, fumble, interception. Jackson State, same thing. So I believe the defense is going to create some turnovers. Can our offense make them pay early? So my prediction, ultimately, I'm looking at something like maybe if the coaching is where it should be, and we don't give away a late touchdown by going for it on the inside our own 10, like we did against South Florida in the last minute or two. I think a score somewhere around 30-20 is realistic. Carolina.
Kofi, keys to victory or keys to the game?
You need to come out with energy and belief. That's number one. Run the freaking ball. We need at least 3 turnovers, and we can't turn the ball over. And I think if we do those things, we rush for at least 100 yards, I think we're going to have an opportunity to win.
I want to see how I agree with what you said, both of you, and I think you're saying the same thing. I want us to put if we have the opportunity to put our defense on the field first, I want us to do that. And I say that because Carolina has a young quarterback starting his first collegiate game. They're without their power. They lost 80+% of their offensive production in the quarterback and running back position. Now they have a dynamic wide receiver, Mac Brown recruit, so they're young guys that are going to step in that are probably pretty good. But outside of that receiver, there's a lot of guys who are looking and hungry for their first shot, including the quarterback. We want to get pressure. We cannot give up a score in their first 2 offensive possessions. We have to somehow be able to, as you said, either hold them, force a turnover, put our offense in a position to score. I'm looking for that. I hope that we can win the coin and defer and put our defense on the field first. And I'm hoping that the first quarter we can offensively run the ball, but more importantly, be productive be productive and find ways to matriculate. Even I'll take a couple of field goals early if that means we're moving the ball, getting inside the 30, the 25. If that ends up with a couple of field goals early, I'll take that. So I think we're all looking for a good start to give you belief. that you says, okay, because it's not a matter of whether we can win this game, it's the will. And so in order for us to have the will, we need to show that we can. These guys, and that goes from the coaching staff, the play calling, everybody has to be right. We know Coach Simmons said he was still working on his call sheet when he took time out to call us. So all of that's happening now. The process is happening. That's what we want to see early. And I think that's what the challenge is there. I'm hoping that the 100 is good and loud. I'm hoping that the crowd is good and loud. And I just want to see guys just turn up and turn out and show out. I'm looking to see who's which one of the Bowler brothers are going to guard number 11. I got a feeling it'll be Geisen to start. BJ, I will not be surprised to see BJ start on number 11. That's their dynamic playmaker for UNC. And then we'll kind of see what happens there. But our offense versus their defense, I think the good thing is our offense goes up against a good defense every day. A great defense every day. And so that's one of those things. So I think FAMU covers. I don't know whatever it's going to be in the 30s. I'm looking for us to cover. So that's my solid play. Take the points with FAMU. Might even tell you to take the first half points in FAMU too. I got a feeling we're going to play a good first half over everything. All right. So that's let's see, anything in the chat room? Anybody put out any good predictions, any score predictions?
They did that earlier.
Oh, they did that. Okay. Any final thoughts? Anything that we missed? Anything that you guys want to add before we get out of here?
No, man. I can't go to Chapel Hill this week, but I will be in Miami. But I'm gonna be watching the game and looking for Rattler Nation to turn up.
Hey, look, we talked about, now you guys, we talked about doing post-game shows on Twitter Spaces this year. I will tell you, this first game may not potentially end till 11:30. So we have to talk offline and decide, are we going to still be up to do a Twitter Spaces post-game show? Because we're talking about doing a Twitter Spaces post-game show after every game this year, especially the ones that we're not at. So you guys be looking out for that. Make sure you're following us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at ONG Strike Zone. Go download the Jericho Broadcast Network's app on your Google and Apple Play Store. Listen to the stream on the BCSN Pod Zone. You can recatch the podcast, BCSN Pod Zone, and that's where you can find us. So, again, we got to thank Coach Simmons for taking time to join us. Thank you to Ken Riley II as well, and appreciate Marcus Green, all the work that he did setting this up, getting some great content.
Mel, my producer.
Mel, our producer. I know Marcus is going to be mad at me because I didn't use all this great content that he put together. We will have to use it next Wednesday's show. So until that time, Rattler Nation, whether you're going to Chapel Hill, be safe, travel safe. And if you're not, you're watching it on TV with us. Let's get ready to tune in, be ready, watch for the post-game show and the announcements regarding that. And let's have a good week. Only 3 more days until the kickoff. 3 trades.
With your bad self.
That's just me. With your bad self. All right, Rattler Nation, strike, and strike again, baby. Good night, everybody. Peace out.